the fuck up. Simon says, get the fuck up. Throw your hands in the sky.
What is it like training with John Meadows, and what have you learned from the experience in regards to powerlifting and bodybuilding? I've trained with John for 5 years maybe. I've learned a lot. You know, what I've learned from that was when applying it to, I've learned more from it on how to apply bodybuilding principles to powerlifting than I've learned from how to apply powerlifting principles to bodybuilding, because I still fall under the mindset that I don't see a need for somebody who's strictly bodybuilding to powerlift. I don't see the reason for it. I don't see the reason for heavy singles. I don't see, there's a risk benefit ratio for everything. I just don't see it. But vice versa, I do, because in powerlifting, there's, regardless of what methodology you're using, there's kind of a pecking order of exercises when you go through your training program. You're going to have your core exercises, then you're going to have your strong supplemental exercises which help build the core, then you're going to have a bunch of accessory exercises. When you fall into those accessory exercises, or the exercises that you're doing just to train body parts, more isolation type exercises, movements that if you get stronger in them doesn't necessarily mean your bench is going to go up or your squat's going to go up. Those are the type of movements, and a good example of that I could throw out there might be a dumbbell row. You know, some people think that they have a carryover to their deadlift. I never did, you know, so using that as an example, I don't see a need in, you know, whipping up 150-pound dumbbells for sets of 6 on a dumbbell row if it's really not going to have any correlation to any of my other lifts. But I do see how the dumbbell row works your lats, and actually how it works your core. If you watch somebody do a dumbbell row, there's a little bit of a shift which actually can make your torso stronger. And for a lot of bodybuilders, if you see too much of that shift, I try to tell them not to do dumbbell rows because they don't want to thicken their core. But what I see there is there a way that you can go from using 120 pounds to using 80 pounds or 70 pounds and getting a fuller range of motion, using, you know, a peak contraction, increasing the time under tension, using intensification training principles, and still, you know, training 1 rep shy of failure, or even training to failure. If you train to failure using really strict, tight form, it's easier to recover from than if you train to failure just muscle fucking something up, or using loose form. So for those exercises in powerlifting that are going to be more hypertrophy based or just to train the muscle, I see the application of a lot of the things that John does with the pre-exhaustion, with the intensification, with the challenge sets, with stricter sets, you know, peak contraction, focusing more on what area of the muscle you're trying to target, falling into place, because it's going to be easier to recover from. You'll be able to actually do a little bit more volume on it, and it's going to help better develop the muscle than the way I used to do it throughout my whole powerlifting career. And what are you going to give up? I mean, instead of whipping up 60-pound side raises that look like shit, you're going to use 15-pound side raises and have less joint stress, more muscle activation, and achieve the goal of that exercise at a greater speed. So that's one of the things I've learned from him. I've learned a lot of nutritional things from him that you can obviously tell I haven't applied very effectively, but I know what to do. And I've learned the importance of peri-workout nutrition. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say for powerlifting or strength I'm a big fan of pre-workout, or for that matter even post-workout, but the peri-workout, I can definitely see that. Probably the biggest thing, and it's so obvious, is the importance of hydration, which is something that I think everybody takes for granted. Very, very few people do I know borderline on being overhydrated. You know, most people are underhydrated, and if you're not hydrated, your body can't process, it can't, you know, transport nutrients, it can't recover. So everybody will be too consumed in, you know, different supplements, and the best supplement you can actually take is water. because without that, you're not going to get the nutrients that you need to the muscles to help recover. That's just a handful of things. I've learned a lot of things from John training with him over the years, but these are the ones that stand out as far as what I think carry over to a strength athlete.
You hear Louis speak about me trying to get him hurt. Well, that's true. I was trying to put that motherfucker in the hospital. He was trying to put me in the hospital.
Oh, I got one, dude. I know it's the most disgusting. Wait, I don't know if we can have that.